I've had guys call me and they're like, "Man, it's a tight fit, I got it in," but, and then you get out there and it is.
They hadn't taken that piece out.
But, so back to this, literally a score mark. I mean, I've seen the smallest of scratches put enough inside that the piston gets stuck. They are so fragile. So always finger tight. Now, this is probably my most successful. I call it my 51% fix. If it's not working, you don't have another one on you. I did this before I moved to Texas down at Dove Valley. They had a faucet with this same solenoid, except it has a longer lead. We don't have them. He needed this faucet to work, and you go down there, you take this that white piece out, whatever I just did with it, pull the plunger out, and there's a tiny little spring. Oh, there it is. There's a tiny little spring inside. Rinse those off. That's it. Just run them under some water. Then stick the open end of this under some water. Put it back together. And always dry fire this before you turn the water on. Just dry fire it. Don't know why, but when people call me, brand new solenoid didn't work. Take it out, rinse it out, put it in, dry fire it, try it again.
By
Hey man,
dry
that
firing-
worked. They said it works all the time. So just dry fire this thing.
By dry firing, you mean?
Before you
Just
turn the
turn-
water.
Just
on.
don't
Rinse the
turn
water,
the
just
water
hit the
on
switch.
and activate it.
Okay.
And you'll hear click, click. You'll hear 2 clicks. That was, so down at Dove Valley with that long lead, that was in 2016. And every time I see him, "Hey, did you ever order that new solenoid?" No, because it's still working. I'm like, when it fails, when it fails, I'll rinse it off and do it. No, okay, it's long past this point. He's probably have one on the shelf, but that's on him now. So that is probably the best tip I have for you on these. And like I said, in a pinch, if you have one on your truck, it's always good to just replace it. These aren't super high dollar items. Trying to think what else we didn't talk about as far as troubleshooting. What questions you guys have while I think about anything I'm missing?
I've had trouble with the lighting, if the lighting in the room you're in is bad
Oh, okay.
with the sensors,
Yes.
whether it's a faucet or a flush valve.
I've had more.
Like one stall would work fine, the
Yep.
other one fine, and it's got all new parts in it.
So I've had it happen more with faucets than flush valves. You guys have to deal with faucets in too quite a bit.
Mhm.
Hopefully not ours. On the faucets, so it's a ghosting. It's a ghosting. It's ghosting. It's picking up something. It's picking up a reflection that's interrupting that infrared. And this literally, I used to have hair right here once upon a time. That exact thing caused me to not have any. With the faucets, it's the stupidest thing ever. Go move it. A 32nd of an inch, just move it. I'd say it's an 80% success rate. And one way you can determine, or I've determined, is I take wet paper towels and line the inside of the sink and see if it stops the ghosting. Flush valves, if you have, a lot of it depends on the environment. Stainless steel is horrible for these things ghosting. So if they've got fancy stainless steel partitions,
Yeah. Okay.
one time I had to tell the guy, "There's nothing we can do. You got too much glitter going on in here," and we put one of these on, and it solved the problem. And this is just have you guys run across these? This is just the retro side mount that turns it into a laser. Yeah, start by even the flush valve, just move the head a skosh and see if it helps. I can't guarantee it, but that's our go-to trick for that. Trying to think, in a pinch, you can put a closet module. If you just have a closet module on your truck and you're working on a urinal, You can put that on there. It's just gonna pick you up way out here before the 18 inches that it's supposed to. You can also put a closet or a urinal on a closet in a women's restroom. In a men's restroom, they're never gonna get close enough if they're standing there to activate it. But if it's got the override button, it might buy you enough time to get a new one. What else, guys?
Right. Pretty much covered it.
Can you think of anything? Solenoid works.
I think we just about covered it.
I think that's pretty good.
How about vacuum breakers? Do you guys carry any vacuum breakers?
Every time I do a kit, we put one in.
You do? Okay.
Supposed to.
That's probably the most, I mean, a lot of people go right to that is the problem. It's usually not the problem.
Vacuum breakers. What exactly do they, are their purpose in there? I mean, I know that they're there, I know what they, they don't work well down.
I don't understand, it's code, so it's there, but, we used to be the Apollo reps, so very well versed in cross connection and backflow. And I just don't ever see a point
I don't see it
when
ever
the
happen.
water's ever, if a fire truck hooks up out there and starts sucking everything out, I don't ever see how the water is gonna come from a toilet or a urinal, back up through the jets, make its way up here, back into your potable water. It just,
It's
to me,
impossible.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they don't pay me to think like that, so. I will say that, and my partner didn't believe me. I learned about this in Texas. I had a vacuum breaker right here. It would not fit in the tailpiece. And I'm like, what the heck? Come to find out, there are two different vacuum breakers, Royal, Regal. One will work in both, one won't work in the other. So if you ever come across one that's just not fitting,
Get a different one.
just remember, oh, that one guy said something. Go get the other one. Do you guys ever have to do you ever have customers say, hey, we want to do something different? I'm saying, I guess I don't know the whole spectrum of what you guys do.
Well, we had the theaters. They wanted to go from the hand flush to the auto, so we had to go in and change all those out a couple years ago.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we do a variety of commercial and residential, but from the commercial side, we see a lot of these, the flush handles, the sensor, the hardwired, the ones that we do go to. And we do, it's starting, the commercial side's really starting to pick up too. Where I'm starting to hear more and see more of these. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here. It's because it's good for these guys to learn these and see them too. And plus, not our drain cleaners, there's times where they have to deal with them sometimes too, not just in one-off cases, but still.
Yeah.
We have 14 drain cleaners, so they're constantly seeing this stuff too.
Well, if you ever run across a situation where maybe they have a Zern body on there and they are like, God, we want to go sensor, but we do not want Zern. They make a ring. They make one of these that will adapt onto a Zern body.
Okay.
So you can sell them a Sloan head and it will adapt to, I mean, if money's a thing and they just are like, God, we'd love to do this, but we can't afford everything, that'll save them $150 to not have to replace the body.
Well, I have Zao right now where I got to replace 9 faucets, 3 sensors. They want to go from the hardwire to the batteries. They want to get rid of the American Standard because they just had it, and I pretty much had it with it too.
If they want me to come down and show them what we offer, I'd be happy to, all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, unless.
Well,
unless
that's what
you
I was
just
going to
sell
talk
it.
to you about that because I already got it sold already. We just need to get it done now. Change the
So,
9 faucets. They have censored faucets right now. They wanna just go
What's
to,
that pressure cap you have over there? And what's that?
So the part I was gonna skip over, the buildings, most buildings are 80 PSI,
Right.
roughly. These flush valves, these, whether manual or sensor, will operate between 10 pounds and 80, 100 pounds. The book says 80. I've had them work fine at 100. You start getting over 100, it's just a quick off and on.
Well, isn't that where you use
Um,
your regulator, your?
Well, I mean, this is gonna regulate the volume.
But not the
The
pressure.
pressure, yeah, the pressure, I wouldn't touch that dial. So when we have, and this has been a lifesaver, I mean, if people, oh, this product's crap, oh, I'm gonna take it out. And you go in and, I had one up at the new Loveland Ford. They would work, they wouldn't work, they would work, they wouldn't work. I went and put a pressure gauge on it and it was setting at 75. And just sitting there watching it, it would dip down to 60 and then back up. And then there was a guy in the stall next to us, and I had the plumber there witnessing it. He flushed the toilet and it dropped.
dropped. Yeah.
I go, we got a problem. I go, there's not enough volume. The pressure's fine, there's no volume. And went and turned a little hand sink on outside and it dropped like 6 pounds. And I said, there's something stealing water. I said, the only other scenario is they came into the building with 1.5 inch main and then increased it to 2 inch. Because once you increase, you will never catch up.
Right.
So I basically was able to verify with the gauge, and I video recorded it. I was able to verify it's not a product issue. This is a system issue. He called me a week later, and he goes, you want to hear what happened? No. He goes, oh, they had a car wash too, and he went to make sure the car wash wasn't running. They wanted a hot seat, and the plumbers told them you got to have a dedicated line.
Yep.
And yada yada yada. Well, they didn't want to spend that kind of money,
So
they had somebody come in and do it behind their back and tied it into the main. So anytime those guys were out pressure washing those trucks,
Dropping pressure.
couldn't keep up. So this gauge started the conversation, and arming the plumber with the knowledge that something was robbing the system, and he happened to be on a walkthrough with the city of Loveland, Loveland Utilities, the owner of the building, the project manager. It was just a bad place for everybody but him. He looked
We've
like
all
a
been
hero.
there.
He looked like a hero. So anytime we can come help you guys eliminate the product as a source of a problem, we're happy to do that. I'm trying to think what else. You can buy these if you guys have to call me. I've got them. I've made. So obviously the hardware store didn't have the parts to get from here to here. 5 parts to make that happen. It's probably $100 valve now.
I said brass, it probably is.
Oh God, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to let you guys borrow it or whatever.
Well, if we have that situation, I'll be calling you because I'll be like, this is, one of those things that if we run into that situation, we probably do need you out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's been
Yeah.
times where I'll sometimes just hook it up and sit there, and it'll drop, and you feel something. You can feel some. Well, 4 stories down, a pump kicked on. That's a problem. So yeah, there's that gauge has come in super handy. Getting the security, the security caps that are on here.
Right.
How do you guys take them off?
A lot of them just pop off. A lot of them you have to push down and turn off.
The vandal resistant cap that sits over it.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of guys using screwdrivers, which is just scratching this up. They do provide these. You stick it down over the button and pop it out. The original use, they come anytime you buy one of these, they send this, and it's to
Tighten that down.
tighten this, it's junk. I never use them, but I use them for this all day long, and usually I have a handful of them. I don't. I have that one. Y'all can fight over it. But yeah, the Zale saying, I'll be happy to come down there, or if you just want some options for them, you can call me.
Well, I'm just gonna change, I'm gonna get with the contact sales rep real quick and see what they can do, to straighten these things out. I realize they are old. The building's an old building, so they're old. But I'm thinking, I think they're pretty much to that point where they're just done with them. So I need three batteries, valves. I need 4 flush, handle flush, and then of course the faucets. They want to change all the 9 sensors faucets. They want to change them out to just regular 4-inch center set faucets with a big handle for 88 compliancy.
Chicago's the way they want to go there
with that?
for sure.
Okay.
Chicago's got a new model.
Is that
with the
model
new-
is that model book in here with the
I'll
handles
give you a
ready?
book before I leave.
Okay.
Chicago, well, Sloan, one other thing, the handle. Some people just cannot afford to upgrade. It's a thing. They do make a handle that's made out of Cuvero copper that is antimicrobial. Nothing can live on it. You touch it with COVID. God, I'm so happy
Right.
this is a mask free zone. They touch it, and I taught my kids how to flush with their feet from the time they were little, respectfully, but I didn't want my kids touching these things. It's Cuvero copper, so you just take the old one out, put the new one on, and that it'll give them a peace of mind. Chicago has handles for their if they want the wing handles,
Yep.
the big ones,
Yeah, that's what they
made
want.
out of Cuvero copper. Same thing, antimicrobial. It's a peace of mind. A lot of places can advertise that. The Broncos, for instance, have gone stupid with their everything from the escalators. As soon as those clear the top and go under, it's under UV lighting the entire way down. So when it pops back up, there's nothing living on it. And then they, of course, put all sensor faucets in that whole stadium. Sensor flush valves. They had a big change out. Rockies did it. Rockies did it before COVID. So COVID for me, I don't know how it's affected you guys, but for me, I've never been busier, as you can imagine. What's that?
I'm sure it's got busier. Yeah, a lot of maintenance guys 5-10 years ago were going from the autos back to the manuals. But I bet with the COVID, I bet they're going back.
Well, there's not an engineer, there's not a facility guy out there that likes electronics for the obvious reasons. They're electronics. With the manuals, they're bulletproof. Like Chicago's is, they got it right the first time, and they did over 100 years ago. They made their first faucet, and you can buy a cartridge off the shelf from any distributor. Go back to Chicago and put that cartridge in the very first faucet they have on display, and it'll operate. I mean, and I say they perfected the first time because I never had to change anything. Tons of options there if they want to do that, and price will never be an issue for them.
Okay.
All they have to do is tell us who the competitors are, if they're considering Moen or TNS or Fisher.
I think he's just left it in
All
my
you gotta
hands.
know.
Yeah, he's left it in my hands just to get it done already. Like I said, I just met with him 2 days ago.
Who do you guys buy through?
We buy through. We have. I don't drop. I'm one of those guys that don't believe in dropping all my eggs in one basket.
No.
So I'll have Ferguson. I have George C. Sanders. I have Park Supply. I have Barnett.
Rampart.
Rampart. Yeah. So we deal. We
Good.
deal with everybody.
We work with all those guys. We're
Okay.
basically like the liaisons between a lot of customers, and they don't want to deal with them. My position is a little different within the company. I'm the only sales guy that doesn't deal with distributors, and it pisses all my partners off because they got to sit down at meetings and explain numbers and why they had a good year here and not here and blah blah blah. And I don't. I strictly call on facilities, schools, jails, hospitals, That's all I do. And so I support those guys part of the time. I do this part of the time. And then we're in front of engineers and architects part of the time. So it's kind of, each day's different. But yeah, however we can help you, we will. If you guys come up with something else, you can call me, email me. I'll get you whatever information. There was something I was gonna bring down, but my printer took a dump on me 2 days ago and I haven't had a chance to even look at it. There are actual troubleshooting flow charts
Okay.
that if you step up to it, is it blinking, or if you touch it, does it flush? Yes, no. And it just flows you through, it walks you through.
So
So that
Sloan
might be
for
something-
Dummies?
Get that off the internet.
I mean, you can, but I just like to be nice and not make you guys work.
You get it to him and I'll get it to the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick up the phone.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that. We can, you know, like I said, I want to start a little library down here with this type of stuff anyway. So it'd be great to have it here. So this way, you know, they can come in and see it. Cause we're gonna be doing these training sessions quite often now here from now until, well, with plumbing, as you know, it never ends. We never stop learning and
I'll
things
shoot-
keep changing, so.
I'll shoot you a line card because Sloan, Chicago, we're also the NIPCO rep. I don't know, do you guys use press tools at all?
ProPress, like ProPress type tools,
Well, yeah, ProPress, that's Viga.
Yeah.
We have NIPCO Press, it's
Nepco
a
Press.
competitor. You wanna hear the funny part of that? When we moved back from Houston, I made a call to Brian, was like, we gotta move back. Do I have a desk still? He's like, yeah. I got a job, babe, what are you gonna do? And she was in tears, all upset, and she came back, took a brokering job, she does logistics, hated it. I mean, people just abused her, truck
yeah.
drivers, and she's got pretty thick skin. She told me about a job she was applying for. And I didn't put two and two together, and she beat out 1,500 applicants. I mean, she's a logistics genius when it comes to moving freight. And she called me, she goes, I got the job. And I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. And I get home, and sitting on our ottoman is a Viga bag. I go, what's that shit doing in my house? And she goes, look, I made they gave me a beer bottle opener, and it's PEX, Viga PEX with a beer bottle. I go, oh, that's great. What else is in this bag? I walk to the front door. Shh, that shit ain't in my house. You probably need to call your divorce lawyer. She's like, why? She didn't even understand that was globally our #1 competitor. And she's been there for 2 years now, and we have a lot of fun with it. My employer knows she works there. She doesn't dare tell them
That's yours.
who I work for because they don't know how they would react. They're a very private company, and the decision makers might not care.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then a slew of valve lines. We can pretty much cover the gamut when it comes to valves.
Okay.
I don't know that you guys ever get into big valves or not.
Probably not a lot of big ones though.
I'll send you a line card.
All right.
Just so you know, if you run across a line, you're like, hey, we need some training. We can certainly come back down. Depending on the line, I might bring one of my buddies down who's a lot smarter than me about that particular topic.
Okay. On the NIPCO side, what would you train on the NIPCO side?
Pretty much just like the press. We could talk about press. We could talk about ball valves, and most of my job has been damage control from what they did years ago. They had products that were not, they were kind of inferior. And they had an overhaul, they changed their alloy. CSU had a massive failure and would never even consider it again. And I worked on them. Finally, it took me one day, I took him and his wife 4-wheeling up at Kelly Flats. And he wrecked his Jeep. We ended up having to camp at a campground across the street that night, and got him drunk and got to talking about it, and he heard a few words I said, and then he called me back, and now it's their #1 go-to spec. I mean, it's on their campus spec. So it's just a matter of, once you get a bad taste in your mouth, you don't go back.
Yeah.
But they've got some great valves. If you guys deal with press, they've got more transition fittings than any other press manufacturer. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
stuff we can talk about.
Something to look into, most definitely. We're looking to always make the change, and if it's faster, cheaper, easier to do, and easier to come up with the parts and the fittings, and then hey, I'm all for it. Anything that's going to be more productive, in and out type deal.
Did you say you do press or you don't?
We don't do a whole lot of it. We do have. Do we have any press machines down there?
No,
Jay,
No.
we don't. But it was something we've been talking about going to anyway. That we would like to do. Maybe cruise down that road to see what happens.
we've always had to
and
rent them.
When that
Yeah, they actually rented them. That's what they did. They rented them.
when that time comes, definitely, let us come be
It's
part
just
of
a
that
cleaner look too.
consideration.
Yeah, most definitely.
It really is, and the biggest, it's the sticker shock.
Most
having
places
to-
we don't use, we need it, but boy, on some repairs where you got water going, boy, that'd be handy as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's why the little shop up in Fort Collins or Loveland. I went and did a showing for them, and he saw the price. He's like, "Oh my God!" Well, okay, think about the labor you're spending, and then you just let them dwell on it for a while. And they had a job. In fact, they got a job coming up tomorrow, and they need an 1.5 inch. So he was calling around trying to rent one, and he called me. I go, "Yeah, I'll just let you borrow it. Well, see if you like it." And the Nibco is the only ACR press. There's one other company out there, but they're not. So we've got the ACR press, and that's what got him raising an eyebrow. And so I think they're going to end up buying the press machine because the time it'll save, especially on
It'll pay for itself in a
HVAC.
couple of jobs easily.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the price isn't that bad if you're a decent sized company with some cash flow, but if you're a little guy like him, oh yeah, you got to go talk to Mama about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd be happy to come down and do it. I think I've covered most of the little tricks. Let me know.
All right. We'll most definitely be in touch, and I'll be in touch with you on this other stuff too. I need that Chicago faucet book for me and
Yep.
stuff, and then
I will grab
like
that.
I said, we'll touch base on this Sloan stuff over there. I'm just ready to move on with